Hi. I'd been streaming for 5 minutes before I realized I wasn't streaming. Hello, good morning. Okay, so we're hitting the ground running here. I'm not going to do my whole background intro thing. I just had different ideas for what I wanted to do creatively, and it frustrates me because that's where I'm at in my head sometimes. And I'm not going to go into all that backstory because I already spent 5 minutes trying to explain that. So we're just going to jump into what I was thinking here. Um, but then let's see. So, aha. Okay. So, we're going to take a look at the screen real quick. Ah. Okay. You see this? Okay, I'm going to try and put it right in the middle. If you look at the screen right now, I'm looking over at my chat to see if I can see. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So right in the middle right there, that sort of coral shape that is like woven over itself. I saw some of that in a pet store, like some fake coral that you could put in a fish tank. And immediately I was like, oh, that would make a really cool metal logo like thing. And that's just how my brain is. That's where the ADHD side of my brain goes. It's always thinking about stimuli. And if I'm not getting stimuli from one thing, then I lose interest in it, which is part of my issue so far with albums, where I will hyperfixate on something. That's the autism. And then my ADHD the next day goes, well, that's boring. I don't want that anymore. And I'm like, wah. We're supposed to be on the same side, brain, you and me. You and me together, buddies, right? Maybe? No? Okay. So, anyway, like I was bemoaning at the beginning of this stream because I just had the idea to do this and not tell anybody about it. Excuse me. I know that this is like the worst way to get your audience interested in what you're doing at all because you're not letting anyone know what's going on. And then you're just hopping in and being like, hey, let me just try and look up something here real quick. So, my initial thought here is if I'm doing an album and I've systematically gone through uh, my instrumentals and made sure that there's at least something about it that is similar, because there is trap music, there is slow music, there is metal music, there is slam music. What about these could be similar? Well, unbeknownst to me, there's plenty of fusion albums out there. There's plenty of bands that do fusion metal, or alt metal, where you kind of push the boundaries a little bit, because metal is one of those genres where you don't have to, play by any rules if you don't want to. So, giving myself this kind of structure, I am hoping will keep me a little bit more invested in sticking to this project and seeing it through to the end. So, that is the hope. So, we're going to stick with the idea I initially have. What I do have right now, I'm not going to show you the pictures yet, but I do have, and this was made through a couple different filters and completely copyright free, usable images of boats and stuff like that. I made an anime style boat picture that's on the waves. It's going along, and I really like the art style. I think it's really, really cool. And then I am getting a character drawn up right now who I will show a picture of. I have her on screen. She's just, invisible right now. I have a character that is being drawn up right now that is going to be sort of the mascot of the story. I have an idea for the story. It's just a question of me sticking to telling that story long enough that it necessitates making a cover with that character on it. So, first of all, the Elkhorn coral. I'm going to show a picture of that right here. This was one of the first pictures I saw that I was like, oh, that would really be cool to try and make a Oh, hello. Someone in Russian is in the chat. I am not aware of how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let me actually go into Paint here. So then we could take a look at more of what I'm thinking here. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. Okay, so then we're going to do... We're going to do this. I'm just going to hop over to Paint here. So here's the Paint, right? I'm going to look over at my chat real quick to see if everyone can see. Okay. Okay, cool. Looks good. So, I mean, there's a variety of different ways you can do this. See? So I'm just going to take this brush here. I'm going to kind of outline what I'm looking at. You can look at stuff like this. You can look at this. You can look at this. Like, I'm just doing basic outlining to, like, show you how we can look at something like coral and see letters in it. You know, you can have a Y coming down like that. You can have a W. You know, I feel like my tracing is horrible this morning. Yeah, you know, like there's a variety of stuff you can do here. See, and that's the band name I'm going for. See, and then I will go down in infamy for being really freaking weird. No, but in all seriousness, it's just kind of something that I think is cool about the art form of band logos, especially in metal bands. A lot of people might not know about it because you just see a mess or you see something that looks like an illustration rather than anything else. But, you know, that's one of the things that I grew to love about metal music, that there's so much more to it if you actually look at it. Like, I know we talked about this a little bit on stream, but I want to discuss it a little bit more with you guys. If we look at this picture right up here, it kind of looks like hair coming down. That was one of my initial ideas I had for a metal project. I wanted to have the female character, who would obviously be the mascot of the story, have hair that's flowing down, and then from that hair flowing down is the logo. So that was kind of what I was thinking. And in full disclosure, since then, I have actually made a rom-com type story where this lady, the visuals that I have for that story involves a lady who, her perspective is her hair is kind of cascading behind her, and I have a logo that kind of looks like hair cascading. And that was how I was looking at that. So I look at something like this, right? I look at something like this and I'm like, oh, I can see letters in this. Like, doesn't this look cool? You know? But yeah, I know that that's not, you know, it might not be what everybody's into, but that's what I love about metal designs. So yeah, anyway, we're just going to go back. Go back into here. Okay, so that was just me rambling, but I got to get going back to this page that I'm on, looking at different types of coral. The brain coral, we've seen that before. That looks kind of cool, but it kind of gives me trypophobia, so I don't want to have that as a logo. Same thing with the massive starlet coral. It has a similar kind of design. Open brain coral, like, my head itches. Staghorn coral had kind of a similar design to what we were talking about before. And I'm trying to find it here. I'm on a site where supposedly you can see all the different kinds of coral, but I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for the really jagged design ones. I think it's a fan coral, or that's the second one we looked at, the Venus Sea fan coral. I'm going to type that up. Fan coral. Maybe there's a certain type of fan coral that looks like what I was seeing at the pet shop. Yeah, that just looks so cool. Just looking at some of the fan coral, it looks really, really neat. Yeah, I mean, you know, in a lot of metal logos, they use like forests and things like that. You can use the scraggly arms of a tree. So the idea of having something that is, you know, physically on Earth be a sort of, you know, magical depiction of what you want to portray is pretty cool. So we're going to go back to the screen here. Oop. I'm going to go up to here. There we go. Okay. So with that said, I want to draw your attention to the basic structure thing that I have here for this project here. And like I said, I already have some visuals made, right? But we don't really have a... So we're redoing this from the ground up, okay? Here I have, like I was saying, I have a design idea for a logo, right? So we have... I'm just going to type all this out so that I can make reference to this later. Idea for logo, shape, fan coral. We're just going to say fan coral. So from that, a name. What kind of name are we looking at? Name, ocean themed, maybe. But then also bands can also have an overarching name. Have overarching name. Style. What style are we going to do? We're going to stick with one particular style because it fits the aesthetic of what we're looking at logo-wise and, you know, band-wise, possibly. But there could also just be lyrical consistency. There could also just be consistent lyrics to fit that. So one of the first ideas I came up with was body buoy. So, oh, now that I say that out loud, it sounds like that meme, Bagabooey. Maybe not then. We're not doing that. But one thing I can say that I enjoy about band names or album names or whatever that have kind of a like an onomatopoeia for it or a play on words name is it's easy to identify. You know, doesn't have to be anything, you know, too complicated. And also it's intense like metal. Body buoy, you know, something floating, you know, who is floating, you know, what happened to get to that point. All these questions and more is what happens in my head. I also love the idea, as I was showing you earlier. Oh, look at that. I just saw that little picture of Hatsune Miku in Fortnite. Still not going to make me want to play that stupid game. But I understand why people like it. I just don't really like games very much anymore. I'm not the biggest fan of Metal Gear. I'm getting off topic here. Anyway, yeah, I like how whether it's like on a tour poster or something like that, you get these metal bands that have, you know, you can have the white version of the logo, and then if you're on something else, it could be if you're on a different type of album cover or poster or something like that, you can just invert the colors. So easy. So one of my things that I was starting to do when I was fiddling around with logo ideas and what have you is, I I like this, all jagged and everything. That's cool. Anyway, what I liked about it was, and we'll probably see this later, but when you're in, software like this, I'll actually give you an example here. This is I did a reaction to Paleface's music, and I'm just taking their logo to make it, fit the thumbnail that I'm going to be doing later. But if you'll see, I put a little bit of a background color here just so that it stands out more. But then something I can do that I've really liked doing when I try to wash out a logo or a title is just take away the brightness. It kind of muddies the text a little bit, or turn it all the way up. So it kind of just makes it a little bit more washed out. And then you can even go to something like the shadow and excuse me. It's got a little bit of blurriness on it, but then you keep it with that. Actually, let's go back to this real quick, just so you guys can see what I'm looking at. See this, it's already looks way more washed out than what it did before. You just add an outline, like another layer on the outside of it, and it just washes it out. But here, if I do the same, we have blurriness on like 10% here. We put the same color on here, and then boom, it just like washes it out even more. And I love that type of stuff. It just makes it even more cryptic, more sinister. What more could you want? So, let me see here. I'm just going to do this real quick. Okay. Aha, here we go. Perfect. So we have Coral Pictures that we can use for free. Pixabay is a great site that I use just for ideas. And if I want to make a reference out of something, I can use it and fiddle with it however I want. And a lot of this stuff obviously is free to, use. No issue with copyright or even needing to let the audience know who made it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so there's a few different designs here. I'm just going to hang my hat on this one because I like the black and white. Anyway, so we have the idea, fan coral, or, So, we're not going to worry about the band title just yet, or the album title. We might do a, self-titled album. I feel like that's a great way to start. It also just, it draws people into what is going to, what the album is. I feel like there's less muddiness on the screen, essentially, as well. I also don't like that name now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so like I said, I do have a female character that I've made. It's just a matter of, the interest on the part of the chat, and then I'll see whether or not I will show her. Though the picture that I do have of her is just a generated reference. Art is being made of her as we speak. But anyway, so what we're going to do next is kind of look through okay. What we're going to do is we're going to look through the instrumentals that we have here. And just look at the, I basically organize these. There's 12 tracks that I have, and we're just going to kind of see how they flow together. And then that will also give me kind of a basic idea of how we want the story to go. So, start off with this one. We're just going to double check and see if it's organized the way that I want. And if the internet wouldn't take forever to... Okay, there we go. You guys would recognize this instrumental. I just love how this song is like so positive sounding. So I don't see anything sad about this song. I think it can serve one of two purposes. It can either be a good start, or it could be a great ender. I feel like it's either got to be a start or the end. Something to end it off in a positive way or start off with something really positive. But my only thought is, if we're going to do a whole album with this, where's the conflict? Are we going to start with something positive, go into the conflict, and then end in something positive? I feel like this type of stuff, and you'll hear little bits of choir in here and stuff like that. I feel like that is, it needs to at least be in the middle where there's some huge conflict coming up, or it's an ending. And it's like saluting that everything's going great and we're all going to be okay. So, yes, this is how my brain works all the time. If you feel like it's exhausting to hear me talk this much, imagine me talking to myself. So we're actually going to delete this track here. And then we're going to go into, okay, so I did write some basic structure of what I want with the album itself. I want to describe the woman, the main character, what her occupation is. I don't know if any other bands really lean into telling a story. I feel like, if anything, the story itself can have plenty of emotion beats that we can all relate to, but you can also tell the story very, in a very detailed fashion. But I don't know if other bands do that. I kind of tried to look into that, and then it just kind of bothered me because I felt like I was leaning into describing things way more than most bands do. So then I just thought, well, I'm just going to stick with what I want to do, and that's it. The idea I have, so this is leaning into the ocean theme stuff. The idea could be something like she could be, because she's a bigger lady, so maybe not the most agile, not the, quickest or whatever, that kind of thing. What sort of ability can she have that would be helpful? And I was thinking about it. What if she, as positive of a character as she is, because that's how I like to make my characters, I like them being happy. What if now my brain, oh my gosh, so you're seeing firsthand how my brain works. My brain right now, as I said, I like to make characters that are positive. My brain goes, what if you made a really negative character? What would that character look like? Wouldn't that character be really endearing because it's so different than anything else you've ever made? Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should scrap everything you're doing right now and then make something very, dark and edgy. You should do that. See what I have to endure right here? So we're going to stick with this, though. This character, very positive, very happy. What if she doesn't socialize as well? She might socialize well, but say in certain group settings. Imagining we're on a boat, some sort of naval thing. Doesn't have to be the actual real world Navy. I feel like we can get in trouble for that, and it also would be weird storytelling wise. But she could be in some sort of military or at least some professional naval capacity. What could she do? Maybe something that, has her in somewhat close proximity to the rest of the crew, but she can operate from a distance if she has to. She could be a commanding officer, or she could do something like be an observer of something. Okay, so if we're looking at observations of things, where else can we take this story? Are these people going to be fighting other people? Is this a wartime story? Is it a fantasy story where maybe they're exploring the ocean and there's all sorts of crazy creatures and things like that she encounters? Well, that's a big variety of things that you can tell in her universe if you go that fantasy route. So what if we did go that fantasy route? Let's say that she is able to observe changes in the waves around her and the storm around her and things like that before anyone else can, even before computers can pick up any abnormalities or irregularities. Okay, so right here, one of the things I do want to do is just flat out describe the woman, maybe not in every ounce of detail, but at least describe a basic picture of who she is. I don't know why everything looks so... I'm seeing if I might not be so washed out here in a sec. I was just looking at my face on here. So we're going to do describing her and her occupation. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Jeez. I don't know why I'm so washed out here. Oh, well. So, describing her and her occupation, able to see issues on the ocean. Maybe rescuing someone. That also lets people know about the other characters of the story because you just rescued someone. Also, in terms of storytelling, I feel like what is helpful in trying to tell stories that are relatable, but also, intrinsic. Wow, that is not how you spell that word. INTRINSIC. Intrinsic to the characters. Use third person, I think. Maybe I'm wrong with that. Oh, another side note I gave myself. Typewriter text is something frequently used in wartime stuff, especially older day wartime stuff. It's also just a form of putting things down on paper that lasts longer. You're not going to be beholding to computers, things like that. You have hard copies of whatever. So maybe that could be used. Anyway. Okay. So, yeah. Her rescuing someone, right from their perspective. Okay. So I'm just going to write down what I was just talking about relating to, oh my goodness, that instrumental. Choir metal is what I called that track so that I always know what it is. Middle to end of story. Triumph, I think, is the important part. Okay, so then next one. Let's move on to the next one. Good Lord. So this was one of the trap songs. Yeah. What I'm having a hard time envisioning immediately is the emotion for this. I don't know if it's supposed to be somber or just chill. I don't know. It doesn't seem like upbeat chill. So it doesn't seem like we're just sitting there like, yeah, we're just like Lo-Fi Girl or something. So I remember having a problem with this beat before because I was like, I don't know how it fits to anything. What do I do? But then it's not somber enough to sound like, oh, we're kind of stuck somewhere and we're just sitting around being stuck. Maybe it's maybe it could be like you're kind of down on yourself. Oh, and the plan for this project as well, too, is figuring out whether or not how much I'm going to sing and rap over all these beats. That's another thing that I'm doing in trying to establish my own style here. Um, I'd kind of like to try singing, mostly just doing clean vocals, a little bit of rap here and there, but I realized how many, I mean, geez, you can write a rap song that has 4 songs worth of lyrics if you're just singing. I feel like after all the music I used to make where I was rapping just a million words a minute, I feel like the idea of just sitting down and singing is just kind of nice. A little bit of rap here and there, obviously, brush the rust off. But I'm kind of liking the idea of just kind of singing and vibing over some of these tracks. I mean, Haken did that with their song Prosthetic. It's like a metal track, but then the chorus or the verses are just bassy and like down-tuned guitar, very slow, and they're just singing. It's like so cool. So anyway, though, come on, there we go. Yeah, it could be like, man, I don't like that instrumental. Now that I think about it, it's tough. It's like weird. Down on yourself, expecting different, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, we got to move on to the next one. I'm also making notes on where I think these tracks should be placed in the song itself. So, so then this is happy. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is like the most happy, like, let's see, let's jump into the chorus here. Yeah, so it's like really positive. Yeah, so it's triumph in its own way. Not sure where that goes because I feel like the choir metal one did just such a better job. But the thing that every single one of these tracks has is guitar of some kind. That's what differentiated it for me. There is one track in the middle that's just what is it? It doesn't have guitar, but it has like an orchestra. It just sounded so good. I didn't want to not include it. So anyway, here's another metal track. And I called this Intense Car Chase because it's kind of chill at some points, but then the rest of it is like very, well, you'll hear. Like, I feel like this chorus is really chill. Yeah, I feel like the chorus is very chill. Kind of like you're taking half a second after you've run someone off the road in a car chase. You're kind of sitting back and you're like, whew, okay. Like that's kind of what I was thinking when I was listening to this. So I feel like that could be right in the middle of a conflict, Maybe it could be a good start. Maybe it could be a good starting track. Maybe a good starting track right in the middle of conflict. Okay. Okay, so I also am taking off the... I did put numbers in front of all these, so I'm deleting those after I'm checking out each track so I can kind of look at it from fresh eyes as I'm writing down everything here. So then this is one of the slam metal tracks. One of the fast ones. Some of you guys would remember this one. So I'm going to do... just going to type conflict, I guess. I think that is just as viable a description as anything else here. Okay, so then this is the orchestra. Yeah. Some of you guys remember this one from way back on my other channel. It's just so good. I just couldn't not include it. It sounds so beautiful. So good. That sounds like, let's see. That sounds like we are in the middle of like hell right now. I feel like, first I'm going to do orchestra trap. In the thick of it. No. My brain was like, KSI. No. Anyway. No hate on that guy. It's just he got his head way too ballooned out for understanding the reality of his music. Like, if he really didn't do all those stupid product placements and honestly think that he's doing something great, I mean, I think there's plenty about him to respect. It's just the fact that his ego is way too big. He doesn't even understand how stupid he looks. And adding all those dumb product placements, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I would never do that in my life. Even for rappers or bands that like make their own product, like coffee or hot sauce or alcohol, things like that, I would never put that in a music video and be like, oh, by the way, I made a Chardonnay. Like, what? There's a time and place for that. You don't have to put it in your music video. Like, anyway, that's one of the things I just can't stand about the guy. Anyway, next slam metal track. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So, my immediate thought here. My immediate thought is, this is more positive. So this is like a good, like, intensity here. This is one of my favorite things I ever heard. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Anyway. Cool. So we did that, and then this was one of the best trap tracks that I got from H3 Music. I was so happy to get my hands back on this track again after the year or so that I wasn't making any music. It's just one of the best things I ever heard. I love it so much. It's just so pretty. It'll always be one of my favorite instrumentals of all time. Love it to pieces. Anyway, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So immediately it's kind of a loss or a somber, contemplative moment. And I think that could be a variety of different things. We could look at the characters. We could look at something they're going through. We could look at maybe something goes wrong and that challenges a character into thinking, about everything they've done up to that point, right? So let's see what this one is. We have like 3 other tracks left to decipher. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. I'm thinking of singing like this over every track. What do you think? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Zachu Beats is the guy who made all the slam metal stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, this is the first slow slam one of the 2. Let's see what we got here. Oh, and obviously the last one, conflict. Some kind of conflict. Similar to the car chase one, I gotta specify. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just so disgustingly slow. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, slow slam, very... let's just see. So it's like, it's just so slow and just dun, 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 dun. Unabating. Unabating pressure. That sounds like a band name in and of itself. Let's see what this last one was. I think I remember what this one sounded like. I think this is just an upbeat sort of slam metal one. If the internet... You were just waiting. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Okay, so it's like it's intense, but it's not. Let's say serious, maybe? Maybe let's do similar to Car Chase. Okay, so we're back over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So now we're just going to go over this so that my ugly mug gets off the screen. My washed out face gets off screen. We're just going to look at the structure here and try and write, or at least organize some of this. If I'm able to get through all this today, like good gravy, I think if I can devise a band name, an album name, if necessary, and a structure, and maybe outline theme for this album in today's stream, then we're good for today. Because I do have other things I have to do today, but I don't want to leave anybody hanging. So, Defan Coral. Oh, I don't know why I sounded like that. I'm so sorry. This was what I was thinking of. This kind of texture. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, I'm going crazy. Let's put this in order first here. So there's some. I've talked a lot about different conflict going on. It could be conflict. Let's just say the conflict is different creatures and stuff attacking. And then some resolution, I guess. And the crew likes her leadership. I think she's going to be like a leader with some sort of powers. She has... Okay, let's do this. She has abilities to observe the ocean and understands things like treasure hunting and whatever else, and has a crew that she protects and utilizes to explore. Let's say that is the structure of the album. So, amid that, there is going to be, let's say, no crew conflict, let's say. So, there's no, like, mutiny or anything like that, at least for this part. So, anyway, for this project, let's organize the triumph, conclusive ones to the end here. If I do it physically, it's easier for me to figure it out visually. Maybe good starting track. We're going to put these right here. Positive, upbeat, sad, chill, loss of contemplation, conflict, similar to Car Chase. We're going to just stick those in the front because I was thinking that the Car Chase one could be a good opener. Chill but sad, loss of contemplation, unabated pressure. We're going to put that in its own thing in the thick of it. I don't even know how the song goes. Middle. We're going to do something like this. But then my question is where does the positive stuff go? Where is that? If it's positive and upbeat, probably near the end, I suppose. Or maybe a positive upbeat one could be, I feel like if it's like, we found the treasure, da, 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 da. Like that's kind of, but that's stupid. For that track, I really got to come up with something like, Oh wait, this said positive upbeat, and the other one was chill but sad. We got to take that out of there. So, oh shoot, where's that one gonna go? Okay. Wait, where was the happy guitar one? Where's the happy guitar? Yeah, that's Triumph. Well, okay, so we organize these in their respective moods. So, how are we going to organize this though? Obviously, I think going back and forth and going from different moods is not going to fit the structure of the album very well. So let's see. I think there should be different different emotional beats. I think there should be different emotional beats. So let's see. So intense. I think we should start off with something intense to start off the project. My phone is in the way of my hand. And then I don't like the idea of going from intense to conflict songs to the middle of this thing. Yeah, I don't like that. I think I'm going to have to put some sad stuff right after the first one. So whichever one of these we go with. Okay, we're going to decide what the first track is going to be. And then we're going to have to put some somber and or happy stuff right after that to kind of get it out of the way. That sounds negative, but that is how I feel like we're going to be able to get all the different moods in here without flowing weird. So let's look at the car chase one. That's the first thing here. Where is it? Here we go. Let's see. If it just jumps out to me as the best intro, then that's what we use. That's how I'm looking at it. Come on. Come on. I feel like that. Okay, we're just gonna keep going here. Really, really enjoy that one. Slow Slam 2. I think this one might be a little too slow. That's my only thought. I'm gonna unhighlight it preemptively for that reason. Ooh. Okay, sorry. I distracted myself. Okay, just had to make a note before I got too distracted. That moment where it goes da 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 da, I feel like that could be a great moment to kind of, it's like fade to white and look at a memory or what life was like before the conflict, and then you get pulled back into the conflict. But then this one, let's see. I think. Oh, I don't know where to put these. They shouldn't be intros, but oh gosh, this is hard. How did I do it so easily beforehand where I just kind of threw everything together? I think I was just thinking about it formulaically for the mood of the instrumental, not even thinking about the story. So, um, oh man, this is really freaking tough. I think what I'm gonna have to do. Um, I'm just giving myself time to think. Um, hmm. Sheesh. Uh, how is this related to coral? It's a cute, cute cow. Calf. Um, gosh. This is extremely complicated. Um, just letting myself think out loud. Uh, if we're so what are we organizing here? We're doing conflict. Um, yeah, so uh, so we're just looking at a bunch of different conflicts. Men getting rescued on a mission. We already looked at the occupation. Okay, we're looking at. I think the first opening track should be let's describe this person and their occupation and what's going on. So if we were to use that for this track, if we use this track, I'm going to try and figure out what the chorus is. I'm going to do this in reverse because I want to know, like, how much do we dump onto that chorus? Let's just do... with an eye for adventure, and so the idea is being able to read the waves and everything. So she has an eye for adventure and danger. Her charisma pulls everyone in like a whirlpool. Whatever. We're just spitballing here. Okay. So we're just doing that. We kind of established that. So then, okay. So I want to go back to a picture I saw. There we go. Cool. See, this is kind of the thing I saw at that pet store, where it was all like pulled together like this. It looked pretty cool. Actually, you know what? I think I can use that. Let's just make sure. Okay, no, I can't use that because that's... So this isn't like free stuff. It's like, that kind of sucks. Well, okay, so then regardless, we can just look at something like this as inspiration. Cool. So literally it all just crosses over itself. Just as many arms as possible, and it crosses over itself. Okay, cool. Draw basic shape, then as many arms as possible cross over itself. So that can be a cool logo. Let's just dial out of that. Okay, so we'll worry about that later. Okay. All right, so we'll stick with that just because, and I feel like there's plenty of room to there's plenty of room to write about this later. So we did the first one. Now let's look at what we want to do next. I think it should be track 3 or 4. Track 3 or 4 with somber. We're not gonna do anything crazy up to that point. I don't think. I don't see the point in that. Okay, so then up to that point we have. What if we just did these 2 tracks? What if we just did, just for the heck of it, we do those 2 tracks, and then we have something happy afterwards. Let's see how this sounds. So we have Slow Slam 2. Come on. Come on, Internet. You can do it. I don't feel like that one needs to be right at the beginning. Yeah, we can just throw that out. Let's look at the... I think I called this Zubba because there was a part where the guitar was like, and it kind of made me think it sounded like Zubba. Zubba, Zubba, Zubba. Anyway, though. So good. Anyway, let's see if this can go into this, if it sounds good. Let's see. Okay. So it's not too intense, but it like sets the tone, obviously. And then we go into Zebba. And it's not as intense as the other Slam stuff, but it is, still intense. And then we go into something more positive. I feel like that could work. Yeah, and it also lets you know the emotion of it, I think. It lets you know, like, or not the emotion, it lets you know the variety to expect. Cool. I think we're going to tentatively go with this idea. So then happy guitar. Maybe that's a little much to go from that intensity to something so happy. Maybe not 4 or 3. Let's do 4 then. We really have to have a good closer though to bring that emotion down. Nah, that's too... Sub. I feel like this is a good 4th track, actually. Somber guitar. I like that better. Yeah, let's do that. And then I think if you went into something... Maybe it could be like, okay, so you're not down on yourself, but regrouping, maybe questioning yourself. So we'll have an intense track, and then we have something serious, and then there's the conflict or the resolution, and then we're regrouping, we're kind of thinking about things. And then maybe the sun comes out. The sun comes out, we just kind of relax a little bit. We could still, okay. So we can do this happy guitar track, but it's bittersweet, and we acknowledge, like the sun, that clouds can show up again. Something like that. I don't know. Just trying to put all this together. Somber guitar, let's do... five. Okay, so then what's number 3? What are we going to do for number 3? Let's try the pressure one. Slow slam. Where's the slow slam? There we go. So it is slow, but then it can kind of... It's intense, but it's slow. So then you can kind of dial it back into... This could either be really good or really bad. I feel like it's like the reverse meme that everyone's doing right now, where they have oh gosh. I'm not going to go into detail on that. It makes sense in my head, my concern. Then what if we just did... What if we did it just like this? So then after the happy guitar, we have slam 1. Come on. And then we did orchestra trap. I feel like there's no real way to go from one to the other. To transition, I mean. I feel like it's just going to sound disjointed no matter how you put it together. Okay. I feel like that kind of works. Yeah, so then we have the choir metal that's very somber and placid. And then it goes into the E3 music rain trap one that I like. The somber rap. Fast 2. And then or no, let's see. I think that could be pretty good. Maybe the middle might be a little bit funky, but I feel like going from that slow stuff to the rain track to the somber rap to the fast to the slam 2 and then that chorus could be, or the choir metal could be really, really good. Cool. Great. Um so then I was just thinking, what is keeping this character from just being in a submarine? What if it was a submarine? And we had something like this, where this is, if I'm seeing it right. Okay, so this could be a good picture. Bottom of the ocean. I just was thinking, bottom of the ocean, you're going to need, oh my gosh, so stupid. I already logged in. Anyway, we'll have to check that out. But having an underwater picture, I think, would make it easier to do a fan choral, cover, right? Or a logo on the cover. So, and then this is, yeah, vector stock. Cool. So we can just use this, right? Yeah, cool. So this is royalty free. Cool. Awesome. Wonderful. I love that. I think what I could do is take this and just kind of, just use it as an illustration, strip back the different arms, and then write up what I want to write on the coral, and then have that be in the foreground. So then we're going to look at that. So I'm going to kind of jump through this last part real quick just because it does smell like something's burning downstairs. So I'm going to go see what that is. But I feel like a good band name should not be related to the theme of anything. I think it needs to stand up on its own. We could do a bunch of different concepts. Concepts not related to album. But then I also could put the album title in the choral as well, which would give us more space or something to do with the rest of the space. Put album title. I'm gonna have to think about the band name. But then in terms of an album title, it could be something like, one that I really liked from a previous project that I worked on. Entombed in seaweed. No, embalmed in seaweed. I mean, that assumes negative things on behalf of the characters, but we're supposed to be looking at positive things. Even something like Siren or Angler. scene that this is going to be a longer one, but I liked this line from a song I was writing or figuring out writing a little bit ago. When you've seen too much sun to be scared of the rain. So as much as, yes, the rain comes down and it's frustrating, you've seen the sun before, you know good times are going to come again. I feel like that can fit the style very well. Seen too much sun to fear the rain. Let's just do that one. Let's generally decide on that. I'll have to think about the band title. I still like Panic and Pastel. I feel like that's a really cool idea. It's just, I feel like we need to relate it to the character. Because I want the character, like I'd said a few times before, I want my characters and stories to be big on their own. So we have this dark-skinned lady with bright blue eyes. I got to think about that one. Yeah. I think I'm going to just end this real quick here and make sure the house isn't burning down. It should be good. But anyway, for those of you who might have been lurking, I wasn't really paying attention to the count here. Thank you guys. And if you watch this later, thank you very much. Yeah,